Hey there, fellow wanderers. It's evening along the banks of the majestic Nile River, one of Earth's ancient lifelines. Envision the scene. The sky burning with the last hues of sunset, the air cooling slightly as the harshness of the day's heat dissolves into a velvety blanket. You hear the gentle lap of water against the muddy banks and the far-off rustle of reed beds. The sweet, earthy aroma of fertile soil, mixed with the faint tang of river lilies, drifts to your nostrils. Above this symphony of the senses, there's the buzz of cicadas echoing into the twilight. This is the Nile. Your travels here are anything but a fairy tale. It is woven with history, reality, and a touch of gentle curiosity. So before we dive deeper, I ask only this. If this kind of raw, unvarnished truth speaks to you, click like, hit subscribe, and leave a trace of yourself in the comments. Tell me your city, your time, your state of mind. Now, dim the lights. Let the hum of your fan blend with the wind of centuries past. Let's begin. And remember, in medieval times, even survival was a luxury. As you stand on the edge of this teeming river, it's abundantly clear why the ancients called the Nile the lifeblood of Egypt. Stretching over 4,100 miles, this mighty ribbon of water courses through arid desert landscapes, turning the areas around it into a lush oasis. The river is a timeline unto itself, marking the rise and fall of pharaohs, the construction of monumental wonders, and the daily rituals of millions across millennia. This waterway isn't just the heartbeat, it's the very blueprint of life here. Consider its cycles: the flooding, known as the inundation, which fertilizes the land along the riverbanks. Year after year, changes in the water's flow provide sustenance and renewal. You can picture ancient farmers, anticipating the floodwaters, preparing their fields, and celebrating the bounty that these waters would bring. Happy Niles, they were called, in a purely non-conventional sense since no singing crocodiles made it to the stage. As nightfall deepens, the temperature drops, cocooning you in the cooling embrace of the Nile breeze. Can you feel it? Here, history whispers you learn that this waterway is more than just nature's miracle. It is a crafted culture, woven tightly with beliefs, traditions, and political powers. The Nile is evocative of the gods, believed to have been crafted in the hands of divine beings. It's a belief that sees pharaohs serve as both leaders and gods. Yet, as you delve deeper into this environment, you realize the Nile is also an intricate network of human endeavor. The river is a highway of commerce and cultivation, cultural conduit upon which Egyptian civilization bloomed. Ships traveling processes, historical and fantastic, laden with grains and fabrics, beers and ointments, drift along its waters, making stops at bustling riverside markets. Here, traders toot colorful wares under the watch of stone temples hulking against the horizon. Historians still argue whether the dense activity along the water is more metaphor than reality, a figment of romantic imaginings, but one does not question the river's pulse. These waters flow in tandem with the heartbeats of the people who dwell beside them, people whose footprints faded long ago into the silt of history. Imagine leaning against a warm stone, letting its sun-steeped heat seep into your bones. The vibrant scenes of life, not too distant, come alive. Fishermen casting nets in practiced arcs onto the river's surface, the laughter of children carrying over the evening air, and the sighs of a world grateful for its existence. You sense the potential hidden beneath this glassy surface. The river channels not only water, but also stories, beliefs, and innovations. It whispers of achievements, thought insurmountable in its absence. Indeed, the Nile's story is tied intimately to human ambition and ingenuity. Man's desire to exist, to thrive against the harsh sands of time. This river is history narrating itself, guiding us as an ever-constant, sometimes mercurial companion. As the moon climbs high, casting a silvery glow over this kingdom of waters, you too become entwined in its embrace, lulled by its rhythms. The journey has just begun, old friend. In these moments, your feet become those of travelers past, your thoughts mingling with those of ancient storytellers. Let's tread further along the banks of history, unraveling the woven story of the Nilia tapestry of time, overflowing with depth and detail. The journey continues as you take a step further into the lush, fertile lands that stretch alongside the Nile, aptly known as the Black Land, due to the rich, dark silt deposited by the river's annual floods. It's here that the magic of ancient agriculture unfolds a symphony of growth and renewal, providing sustenance and stability for generations. You find yourself walking through sunlit fields, the air tinged with the scent of wet earth and burgeoning crops. It's as if the earth itself breathes with the steady rhythm of life. Imagine this. Each year, the Nile bursts its banks, spilling over into the surrounding plains. These floods are not destructive forces. Rather, they are the wellspring of life, giving nourishment. Farmers eagerly anticipate this blessing, understanding deeply how the hydrological cycle of the Nile dictates their life, their hope, and even their survival. This phenomenon isn't just nature's whim, it's an essential chapter in the story of these ancient lands. As you wander, you spot the shadow simple yet ingenious tools leveraged by ancient farmers toiling under the sun to irrigate their fields with the precious waters. Their rhythmic creaking is a testament to an agricultural system that flourished long before modern technology. Each motion of the shaduf is deliberate and practiced, transforming the arduous work into a dance passed down through generations. The Nile Basin is a variegated quilt of wheat, barley, flax, and a myriad of vegetables. The staples of Egyptian diet emerge from these fertile grounds, with crops nurtured alongside the enigmatic papyrus, the precursor to paper. It's awe-inspiring to witness how this river's bounty allows the grains needed for ancient bread and beer to flourish. Not just sustenance, these fields are fertile grounds for tales-off economic stability and unpredictable fortune. You can almost hear the farmers' songs, softly rising with the wind, a hymn to the river that guards their secrets and, more importantly, their harvest. Their labor is cyclical and rhythmic, echoing the anthems of an agrarian society reliant on the whims of the river god Hapi. It's a life inextricably linked to the waters that feed the land, partner in ploughs, in dreams realized or lost. Historians still argue whether these intricate systems of canals and basins reached all corners of the civilization or were reserved for the elites. Yet, what remains evident is the river's central role in Egypt's agricultural narrative. Imagine discussing ancient weather forecasts over a yield forum, a bit like debating your GPS's reliability today. Amidst this agricultural prowess, you can't help but notice colorful figures, women, woven into this tapestry of labor. They gather papyrus for weaving and create linen textiles, morphing mundane existence into a myriad thread of civilization. Here lies a wondrous paradox. While the rest of the world slumbered, Egyptians embraced the ebb and flow of their beloved Nile. The nourishing soil beneath your feet speaks to a duality, the miracle of the river juxtaposed with the ever-present possibility of famine. The harsh contrast between the Black Land and the barren Red Land, Egypt's arid desert, serves as a constant reminder of dependence and vulnerability. It's a plain lesson in balance that governs life along these banks. As you meander past these endless fields, enveloped in an aromatic haze of growth and cultivation, consider education's role born of this agricultural bedrock. Knowledge of planting cycles, irrigation techniques, and soil fertility were meticulously passed down, interlacing practical expertise with spiritual gratitude to their godsan, enduring testament of gratitude, captured in hieroglyphs, whispering tales on sandstone walls. Here, within this riverine corridor of time, the symbiotic relationship between humankind and nature chimes resoundingly. From seed to bloom, from harvest to feast, the Nile's bounty feeds more than just bodies. It nourishes the entire life cycle itself, ensuring Egypt thrived into an unparalleled center of ancient civilization. With each step, the journey extends, guided by the river's melodia, call to explore deeper realms of understanding, advancing further into the waters of discovery, antiquity, and the eternal human spirit, embracing a watery muse. Picture this: dawn breaking over the mist, shrouded waters of the Nile, and the river stirs with activity. Boats of every size nudge gently against the current, their wooden hulls creaking harmoniously as they embark on trades, tales, and exchanges. The Nile has long been more than a lifeline for agriculture. It is the great artery of commerce and transport, flowing through the landscape like an ever-moving road of liquid silver. Imagine yourself standing on a bustling dockside, the air buzzing with anticipation and opportunity. Merchants haggle over prices with practiced enthusiasm. Wisps of incense and the scent of spices mingle in the morning air, hinting at far-off lands and distant exchanges. Bartering isn't just about goods here, it's a dance as intricate as the hieroglyphs adorning the monuments that loom over the riverbanks. You see caravans unloading treasures from lands both near and far, ebony from Nubia, cedarwood from Lebanon, ivory and gold. These commodities arrive on vessels that cut through the river's heart, connecting Egypt not only internally but with the wider world. The Nile acts as a conduit, its waters carrying the hopes of craftsmen, the wealth of kingdoms, and the whispers of ideas as relentlessly as it bears its everyday cargo. Traders, with papyrus sandals slapping against the stones, converge to exchange stories along with their goods. Imagine conversations carried in the crisp morning breeze, tales of gods and pharaohs, of rising dynasties and ancient wonders. You hear one merchant jest about his grandchild's first attempt at bread-making burnt to a new shade of black, courtesy of their inexperience. The crowd chuckles, sharing in the intimacy of everyday life, bridging geographies through humanity and humor. Historians still debate whether trade along the Nile reached all classes of Egyptian society or remained a tool for the wealthy elite. Irrespective of its reach, the river's function as a commercial hub was undisputed, underscoring the significance of waterborne networks that enabled regional interactions. Think of it as a potent combination of Amazon Prime and the Silk Road minus the digital component, of course. These storied waterways are more than a scene of simple transaction. They also evoke a dynamic interplay between civilization and the environment. The Nile's capacity to bind communities is unrivaled, its currents flowing through both time and imagination. To the trader on the river, there exists not just the possibility of prosperity, but also the allure of adventure. Among the waders and watchers, you glimpse the laborious Egyptian workforce whose skills are as varied as the goods exchanged on the riverbanks. Stonemasons, basket weavers, scribes, and potters each fulfill a vital role in this intricate societal weave. Their hands, calloused and steady, craft from the materials provided by the river's sustenance. They are the keepers of a legacy that brims with creativity and ambition. And just as you feel you've peered into every facet of this ancient marketplace, along comes a memory. Legends of Cleopatra's lavish barge come to mind, decked with silken sails and gilded ornamentation that dazzled all who witnessed its splendor. Her barge was more than a vessel. It was a statement of power, opulence, and the magnetic authority drawn from the Nile's lifeblood. The river's waters mirror the duality of its existence, a thoroughfare of trade and ideas with undercurrents of political undertakings. As sunlight glimmers across its ever-moving surface, you sense the pulse of history beneath a history that stretches far beyond the horizon to touch lives even today. You can almost reach out and imagine the ripples forming under your palms, a testament to the flow of connective tides between past and present. As the day lengthens, so does your contemplation of what these waters carry, a symphony of whispers from the past, inviting you to sail onward and delve deeper into the mysteries held within ancient Egypt's most illustrious highway. As the sun reaches its zenith, casting golden rays upon the shimmering Nile, you find yourself contemplating the divine embodiment of power rooted in these sacred waters. There, standing tall against the horizon, are the statuesque figures of the pharaohs, guardians of Egypt, and considered god-kings by their people. These rulers were believed to be the earthly representatives of the gods, their rule ordained by the life-giving presence of the Nile itself. You can almost feel the hum of reverence emanating from the temples that dot the landscape, each a monument to the pharaoh's divine right to rule. As you walk along the banks of this mighty river, every stone seems to murmur tales of grandeur and divinity. The air carries an undertone of incense, mingling with the fresher scents of the river, creating an aroma that is both sacred and earthly. Imagine the pharaoh's bark, symbolically merging the divine with the mundane as it drifts upon these waters during grand ceremonies. With stylized finery and an entourage mirroring celestial courtliness, the pharaoh's presence at these events reassures his people of the natural order where the river's rhythm and royal dictates are hoped to be in perfect harmony. The Nile's floods are seen as a reflection of the god's favor, directly linked to the pharaoh's piety and governance. A well-fed river could bolster a ruler's claim to divine favor, while a drought might shake their earthly as well as celestial legitimacy. Historians still argue whether the pharaoh's religious influence on the Nile's cycles was purely symbolic or held sway over conscious belief systems, but its significance was indisputable. While the grandeur of the pharaoh's presence is impressive, you can't help but notice the richness of stories embedded in the lives of those who held this belief. They crafted intricate narratives in stone and script, showing the pharaoh as a bridge between the cosmos and the earth. It's said the pharaoh's heart was weighed against the feather of truth in the Hall of Judgment, ensuring divine justice echoed amidst mortal courtrooms, a symbolic celestial check and balance system. In this world, you grasp that the line between deity and monarch is as fluid as the river itself. The cult of the pharaoh interweaves such divinity that it often convinces some historians it was the original concept of divine right, a notion extending far beyond its desert genesis. Kindly, you walk through the open corridors of a temple, its colossal columns rising around you like ancient sentinels. The stone beneath your feet, warmed by the sun, tethers you to millennia of worshippers who offered sacrifices and incantations, whispering prayers for floods, harvests, or healing. Here, myths of Osiris, Isis, Horus, and other gods come alive, weaving themselves into the tapestry of Nile lore. According to legend, it was Horus's victorious return to rule that established the legacy of pharaonic kings as bearers of divine authority. By the river, you stand on the edge of divine mythology and grounded reality, a juxtaposition that matches the river's own dual nature. It's a charming experience to be swept up in these celestial conceptions, all while standing beside the very water that reflects the pharaoh's splendor. The Nile captures and channels this reflection, flowing with the ebbs and flows of divine ambition and mortal endeavor. As the light begins to dim over the Nile and temple shadows lengthen, you sense this confluence of godhood and kingship continuing to ripple through history. Plunge deeper yet into the mysteries held by those who ruled, understanding the magnitude of riverside religious power and the court's encapsulation of ethereal edicts. Here lies the initial step toward unraveling Egypt's governance, alongside the unceasing activities of the river, borne by whispers wrapped within dusk. As you drift further along the Nile's banks, your journey takes a delightful turn into the world of Egypt's sacred creatures and peculiar concoctions. Among the most revered inhabitants of this riverine ecosystem are the cats, those enigmatic creatures with their regal elegance and aloof demeanor. Cats did not merely lounge around, they were considered divine, messengers of the gods, particularly Baste, the goddess of home and fertility. As guardians of both the granaries and the homes, these feline deities prowled the grain stores and enticed hieroglyphic scribes, etching their feline forms into the annals of stone. Imagine the everyday scenes, accompanied by a chorus of meows, as cats wove through bustling marketplaces and sun-dappled courtyards. With their mysterious gaze, they were seen as protectors against vermin, disease, and the sinister spirits lurking beyond the torchlit precincts. The fondness for these creatures was so profound that historians still argue whether the penalties for harming a cat were as severe as some accounts suggest, potentially as grave as facing the pharaoh himself. It's said that family portraits weren't complete without a lounging kitty carved into their eternal backdrop, forever basking in the adoration bestowed upon them. Now, let's tackle a more unusual practice, something that conjures images of early experimentation and Egyptian ingenuity, or desperation, take your pick. You see, while sunscreen might now come in neat tubes boasting of SPF this or that, ancient Egyptians had their own version of sun protection, albeit a tad more organic. Enter the use of crocodile dung as a means to create protective lotions. Yup, you heard that right. This reptile excrement, among other substances, was believed to be an effective barrier against the sun's relentless rays. One could argue it was nature's SPF stunningly peculiar formula with quite the distinct odor barrier. Imagine standing among priests and priestesses, each preparing for a ceremony under the blazing sun, diligently rubbing a mysterious blend upon themselves with a straight face. The air carries an earthy scent, possibly punctuated by faint chuckles at the lengths taken in pursuit of sun protection. It's in moments like these that you might appreciate the modern convenience of aerosols and zinc oxide. Of course, the Nile wasn't just the realm of playful cats and curious lotions. It also hosted more ominous creatures, real and mythical. Picture the flat, beady eyes of the ever-present crocodile, lurking just beneath the surface, embodying patience and lethality. Sobek, the crocodile god, was revered and feared in equal measure, and in certain temples, these reptiles were even mummified and buried in sacred rites. Engage your ears, and you hear the chatter of priests and villagers who, guided by a mix of reverence and pragmatism, respectfully coexisted with these scaly denizens. They might argue Sobek's blessings ensured bountiful harvests, while his calm must be appeased through offerings. While most Egyptians worshipped images or statues, venerating a living, breathing embodiment certainly lent an edge to the religious experience. As you stroll back from the riverbank, observing life with a touch more whimsy, the peculiarities of the Nile and its denizens leave their mark on your perceptions. The ordinary becomes rich with playful myth and strange truths, lending color to the narrative tapestries of the past. Each purr, each sunlit bath, each shadow beneath the water's surface carries stories that meander and integrate into Egypt's broader historic saga. So with that in mind, let's continue to chart this labyrinthine course. Each step reveals nuances and wonders that reflect humanity's unending fascination with divine guardianship, peculiar practices, and the simple elegance of life beside this eternal river. As your path winds alongside the Nile, rising monumental structures loom in the distance, the iconic pyramids. Massive triangular silhouettes against the sun-baked horizon remind you of the raw ambition that fueled the building of these wonders. But in this narrative, we delve into the river's humble, yet crucial role in making these architectural marvels a reality. Imagine yourself standing on the edge of a bustling construction site, sand swirling in the hot breeze, as countless workers skilled in art and toil maneuver stone across the landscape. With rudimentary tools and sheer determination, they transform the land into eternal monuments dedicated to pharaohs and gods. The river, ever the silent companion, plays an unsung role in their ancient endeavors. Transport back several millennia, imagining the steady rhythm of labor as blocks of limestone are quarried and ferried down the Nile. The river serves as both highway and supply line, allowing these immense structures to ascend from thought to stone reality with astonishing efficiency. These blocks, some weighing tons, float down the river on wooden barges, buoyed by the very water that sustains life and empire alike. It's a logistical feat that today might demand cranes and cargo ships for them. It was the river's grace and the hands of thousands. The construction of these pyramids still sparks debate among historians. Some posit the theory that flooded causeways allowed stones to be floated right to the building sites, while others explore the labor force's motivation, questioning whether they were slaves, as once thought, or rather skilled workers offering their labor as a mark of Piatir deep cosmic construction project, if you will. Among the hustle, the backdrop of Egypt's relentless sun illuminates the resourcefulness of its people. Ingenious methods, devised to manipulate the landscape, reveal humanity's enduring desire to reach beyond the bounds of ordinary comprehension. As you imagine the towering pyramids ascending skyward, it feels like a metaphor for mankind's reach toward the heavens. Nearby, artisans chisel away at intricate reliefs that will narrate dynastic legacies, immortalizing pharaohs for eternity. The temple scenes depict scenes of daily life, alongside grandeur, preserving a snapshot of an era built on both celestial and earthly enterprises, microcosms of culture captured in meticulously shaped stone. In these endeavors, you sense an interplay between divinely mandated authority and everyday precision. The artisans' chisels streak the air with tiny echoes, their clinking melding into the symphony of the river's flow, weaving a continuance of sound through generations. Solar alignments are meticulously observed, weaving cosmology into construction. These structures are not only tombs, but a manifestation of a culture's painstakingly crafted cosmology. To behold the grandeur of the pyramids and understand their creation is to appreciate the immense trust in the river as an engineering partner. Without the Nile's facilitating presence, these monumental structures might never have ascended skyward, rooted in earth, yet aspired toward the stars. And so you walk from the mighty shadows of these sonnets in stone, along the riverbank that bore stones and dreams, bringing history to fruition with each swish of a reed on water. The Nile remains your guide through this land of stories, old and new, an ever-rolling conveyor of both the ethereal and the tangible. Understanding both is the journey that awaits us ahead. With a smile and some relief, nudge your imagination toward the coming festivities, for soon the river will carry tales of vibrant celebrations and divine processions. And so our journey continues further along the banks of antiquity, inscribed with the voices of the ancients and the eternal lull of the river's embrace. As you meander further along the Nile's flowing path, you drift from monumental heights to the more intimate details of daily life on the riverbanks. The breeze carries the laughter of children, the murmur of spoken tales, and the sizzle of cooking fires as you step into the everyday tapestry of ancient Egypt. Here, life is marked by the rhythm of the river, a dance of survival and civilization woven amidst the reeds. Imagine families gathered around mud-brick homes, their walls painted with protective deities and scenes from life both terrestrial and eternal. The air is rich with the scent of bread baking, the lifeblood of the Egyptian diet. You see women kneading dough, their hands skilled in crafting the ancient loaves made from emmer wheat, its aroma mingling with the earthiness of clay ovens. Just next door, an old man tenderly molds potteryless vessels, more whispers of functionality that echo familial bonds. As you wander, you come across fishermen, casting their nets from narrow skiffs, displaying an artistry and patience passed through generations. While fish emerge plentifully from the Nile's waters, the river provides more than sustenance. It is a livelihood, a daily engagement with nature that forms the cornerstone of this vibrant society. Their daily catch accompanies staple crops to feed a nation dreaming of prosperity under the eternal gaze of the sun. Linen is the fabric of choice here, spun from flax plants grown along the river. Picture delicate hands weaving thread into fabric beneath a palm frond canopy, creating garments that protect against the sun's embrace. The fabric is smooth and light, reflecting the cascading sunlight in a spectrum of whites, blues, and ochres, mimicking the river's own palette. In this process, the tactile and the aesthetic converge, clothing bodies and crafting identities in one sweep. You can't help but marvel at the timelessness of these simple innovations. Among these scenes of vibrant normalcy, there is also an element of luxury, the refreshingly cool papyrus groves rustling in the gentle breeze, providing not just materials for writing, but a retreat from the sun's midday discipline. You might stumble upon scribes working diligently, brush in hand, translating the river's inspiration into tales, wisdom, and records a river beside them as deep as the ink cascading across their papyrus scrolls. You can almost see them comparing hieroglyphics, laughing over the intricacies of a phrase well penned, or puzzling over which symbol to omit to save space. Historians still argue whether literacy and papyrus were confined to a privileged few or dispersed more broadly among the populace. Either way, it is clear that these ancient scripts are more than text. They are keys unlocking philosophical ruminations and tales of triumphs, preserving voices in history's choir. In moments spare, vibrant games are played in courtyards, while musicians with lyres and harps capture the playful essence of the day's improvisational rhythm. Think of it as the ancient world's spontaneous karaoke. These simple pleasures, alongside artistic pursuits, foster a community spirit that ebbs and flows with the river's own timeless energy. Amidst this chorus of living, you observe the profound connection between the people and their surroundings, a bond as enduring as the sandstone statues watching from afar. Daily life on the banks of the Nile is a celebration of resilience and continuity, where generations intertwine stories, beliefs, and customs into the fabric of existence. The sun descends lazily towards the horizon as birds return to their nests. You too feel enfolded in this vibrant panorama of life by the Nile, where the ordinary is entwined with the extraordinary. Each day is a testament to the relationship between man and the river, where nature's gifts are welcomed with reverence, grace, and a shared dinner story by lamplight. Step further still, as the ancient Nile beckons you toward grand festivals and opulent celebrations that paint the river in colors of divine festivity and human joy. What's next, traveler? We'll unveil Egypt's river as the stage for gods to walk among men. Onward we drift with the currents of tradition and time, carried gently on the river's eternal song. As you continue your journey along the Nile, a shift in the air hints at something extraordinary, feeling that vibrates with excitement and anticipation. The river, usually so serene, now mirrors the fiery hues of an awakening dawn, where the stage is set for a celebration that transcends mortal affairs. You find yourself swept into the heart of an ancient Egyptian festival, a vibrant culmination of culture, spirituality, and communal exuberance. Imagine the scene: banners fluttering in the breeze, stalls laden with food and drink, and throngs of people adorned in their finest linen attire, their faces radiant with anticipation. It's festival season, and you've arrived just in time for one of the most spectacular processions, possibly the Opet festival where the divine meets the dynamic, and the Nile serves as both stage and audience. Priests emerge from the grand temples of Karnak, carrying statues of the gods Amun, Mut, and Khonsu. These figures, veiled in gold and otherworldly splendor, are transported on sacred barks, carried by the devoted. The barks are then transferred onto elaborately decorated boats, ready to embark upon a ceremonial journey along the river. Imagine the boats, adorned with colorful streamers and inscribed with protective hieroglyphs, cutting through the water's reflective surface like mythical beasts returning home. You feel a joyful hum in the air as musicians begin to play. The rhythm of percussions and the mystical strains of flutes and lutes weave through the crowd, meandering alongside the flow of the river. Feet move instinctively to the beat, and laughter mingles with sacred chants, a harmonious blend under a vast azure sky. These processions reveal the divine dance of the gods, bringing them from temple to temple, a reenactment experienced through the senses, where earthly life meets celestial realms. Imagine inviting Beyoncé for a celestial appearance, drawing on the same resonance felt with each rhythmic heartbeat of a drum. Now and then, a subtle fragrance of offering fills the air. Incense smokes curl upwards, their fragrant spirals offering prayers that rise into the heavens. The community gathers near platforms laden with food dates, bread, and possibly freshly caught fish from the Nile shared among participants, reveling in the sights, sounds, and sacred depths of divine favor. As you move through the festival, you can't help but notice the diverse ranks of society gathered together in jubilant unity. From the noble elites draped in finery to laborers who just exchanged tool belts for togas, everyone becomes part of this vivid spectacle of faith and community. It's a time when divisions fade, washed away by the river's whispers of ancient unity. Historians still debate the true scale of these festivals, questioning whether they involve the grandiosity of modern depictions or more pragmatic, localized events. Regardless, in this moment, the river is witness to a display as grand as any ancient Hollywood, and its currents seem to sway with approval. Children dart through the crowds, playing impromptu games inspired by the sights and wonder. Elders share stories of festivals past, their voices resonating with the wisdom garnered beside the waters over countless cycles. You sense that only here and now can the full potential of the Nile's embrace be realized, a cultural confluence of language, lineage, and legacy. As night descends, the stars begin to twinkle like scattered gemstones across the Skisa, celestial mirror to the twinkling lamps and fires that will carry the festivities into the night. Drifting away from the festivities, the river soothes, serenading the twilight as celebrations continue along its banks, inextricably linked to this grand tapestry of life and reverence. The rhythms of the festival linger in your steps as you wander away, blending into the gentle cadence of the Nile's flow. Ahead, the river continues its course, beckoning you to further shores where healing waters, sacred myths, and medicinal marvels await exploration. Onward, traveler, through eras illuminated by the Nile's blessings, as the sun and stars guide you ever onward through time's unfurling mysteries. You proceed along the Nile, now a familiar companion, as the echoes of festivity fade, making way for quieter but equally profound murmurings of the river. Here, the waters nurture not just the body, but the mind and spirit. You find yourself at the confluence of ancient medicine and myth, where the river's bountiful resources shape early healing practices. Imagine a bustling marketplace with the hum of traders, fragrant stalls overflowing with medicinal herbs, bark, and mysterious powders. As you meander through, You sense an aura of ancient wisdom emanating from healers who gathered these potent remedies from the Nile and its surrounding landscapes. The sun filtering through palm fronds casts dappled shadows, and the air is suffused with the aromatic blend of cloves, garlic, and mint nature's own apothecary. The Nile provides a pharmacy of life, and you observe skilled practitioners, called Sunu, carefully selecting and mixing ingredients in earthen bowls. The art of healing involves both science and spirituality, where medical expertise is often intertwined with religious belief. You glance at papyrus, scrolls scattered around, inscribed with remedies for ailments ranging from headaches to digestive disorders, reflecting a culture that valued health and balance as gifts from the divine. Through these records, you learn of specific treatments: honey as a cure for sore throats, a mixture of herbs for calming digestive turmoil. One curious method involves pressing a live fish against a patient's forehead to cure fever, an ancient precursor to an ice pack, minus the refrigeration. Historians still argue whether some of these cures were based more on hope than efficacy, but let's face it, even the most ambitious kitchen concoctions lack the Nile's mystique. You watch attentive apprentices weaving among the crowd, their youthful eyes reflecting the promise of healing knowledge passed through generations. They're eager to learn, soaking up information like clay amphorae, waiting to be filled with Nile water, ready to quench the thirst for understanding that history is flavored with. Pause a moment to reflect on the divinity of these practices. The goddess Isis, known for her healing magic, often comes to mind. Her mythic tales weave through these medical practices, equating the restorative powers of the Nile with the nurturing hand of a celestial mother. Even as you watch, an elder recounts stories of transformation of life restored, and futures renewed with the awe of witnessing miracle, mingled with the reality of earthly efforts. The debate over music's therapeutic properties is ongoing, as ancient healers employed melodic harmonics as soothing balm. You imagine the soft melodies of harp and flute supplementing the scent of healing herbs, creating an almost ASMR-like balm for the soul centuries ahead of its time. Ahead, beyond the healer's stalls, you notice a small group clustered near the riverbank. They are participating in ritualistic washes for spiritual cleansing, a time-honored tradition, where the physical blends seamlessly with spiritual, a practice that acknowledges the river's dual nature in both realms. The sun's golden light begins to mellow, and evening shadows stretch lazily across the Nile. It feels like the river cradles the wisdom of centuries past, its waters washing over troubles both physical and philosophical, a balm for the body and balm for the cosmos. As you step away, a gentle breeze wafts around you, carrying whispers of medicinal secrets and blessings of the gods. The current meanders ever onward, beckoning you with tales of mythologies and pantheons, where the line between familiarity and fantasy blurs delightfully. Journey on, traveler, further still, to explore the stories of gods and goddesses who weave their destinies into the fabric of the Nile and beyond, where belief touches the eternal flow of the river's serene narrative. The sun's descent casts an orange glow on the river's surface, inviting you deeper into the embrace of the Nile's mysticism. The flowing waters seem to sing with the lore of ancient deities, each one melding myth with reality in a timeless dance of belief. Here by the riverbanks, in the flickering light of oil lamps, stories of divine beings entwine with the swaying reeds, fostering a cosmic narrative as enduring as the stars above. Imagine, if you will, this land in an era where gods walked the earth in the guise of majestic creatures or celestial forces. It is a world where the Nile doesn't just nurture life, but serves as a sacred artery, claimed by celestial beings from an elegant pantheon. A world where Sobek, the crocodile-headed deity, is revered as both protector and punisher, his presence ensuring the fertility of the floodwaters. Priests offering supplications hope to earn his favor after all. You never know when a logical crocodile dialogue might come in handy. The goddess Hathor, often depicted with the cow's horns, personifies motherhood and fertility, her spirit believed to dwell within the gentle lullabies of flowing currents. Her presence in festivals and rites endears a sense of gentle nurturinga, reminder of love unconditional and plentiful. As you breathe in the scent of evening lotus flowers, your senses transform words of lore into a vivid tapestry where river and deity merge. Historians still argue whether these myths were created purely to explain natural phenomena or if their origins drew from ancient cosmic encounters. Regardless, the stories persist, capturing imaginations and evoking awe for generations upon generations. Osiris, another key figure, embodies the cyclical essence of the Nile. His story serves as a metaphor for the river's cycle of death and rebirth, his resurrection producing life as surely as the inundation rejuvenates the soil. It's an elegant narrative that illustrates the Nile's rhythm with poetic precision, dressed in metaphorical garb that keeps ears pricked for the whispers of gods hidden amongst the reeds. The river's bank becomes a stage where these stories are enacted through ritualistic plays and dramatic enactments. Picture priests, adorned in ornate masks and robes, embodying the divine in spectacular ceremonies, set against the backdrop of starry skies and rhythmic drumbeats. It's as if the river itself lends a cosmic set design, each ripple and moonbeam illuminating the narrative procession of performance with a metaphysical entry fee of wonder and belief. In the shimmering dusk, you marvel at the reflections of these divine entities, mirrored in the Nile's eternal currents. You can almost see Horus, the falcon-headed god, with his spear-like gaze protecting the skies, his legacy captured in stone, papyrus, and the constellations alike. His embodiment by the waters transcends both the physical and symbolic, eternal as the stars nightly march across the sky. As the night's embrace grows deeper, enveloping the earth in silence and starlight, you feel yourself carried by the river past realms and realities, intertwined with reverence and wonder. The mingling of myth and reality reveals a philosophical oasis, welcoming you to explore how divine tales navigate the tides of belief and history. Continue your journey, dear traveler, where the lyric of the Nile guides you toward more intimate narrative estuaries of struggle, survival, and the vibrant interplay of nature and civilization captured in the rhythmic ebb and flow of this life-giving river. With each whisper from its depths, discover tales yet to be told, and pages waiting to be turned by the currents of time and imagination. As you continue your voyage down the Nile's ancient pathway, the warm glow of the setting sun gives way to the deep blues and dark purples of evening. The river, usually a symbol of life and sustenance, has not always flowed with abundance. You find yourself contemplating the valleys of drought, where scarcity replaced prosperity, and the land once lush and fertile faced the stark reality of collapse and catastrophe. Imagine standing on the banks of the Nile during a time when its life-giving waters failed to flood the fields, reducing the land to a parched and barren landscape. The rich silt, usually so full of potential, lies dormant. It's a scene of quiet desolation, where the sky is devoid of its usual vibrancy, reflecting the earth's hunger below. Insects hum through the hot, still air, carrying a dissonant song over wilted fields. The palpable tension hums, eerily reminiscent of days when modern technology resets your Wi-Fi, yet here, there's no easy fix. You feel the weight of history pushing down, a narrative of societal fragility bound intimately with the Nile's whims. Ancient records recount periods of drought, called upon by angry gods or celestial alignments. At such times, the pharaoh's divine right to rule was placed under scrutiny, as thriving life gave way to questions of legitimacy, a cosmic customer service call left on hold. The story of drought and famine unfolds in accounts etched by scribes into stone and clay tablets. Grain stores dwindled. The bountiful riverside markets became less about rich exchanges and more about the distribution of dwindling rations. Community togetherness was tested, and even the cats felt the ripple effect of unease, ambling through the crowded alleyways. Historians still argue whether these drought periods contributed significantly to the end of dynasties, or were isolated stresses that Egyptian society resiliently overcame. Some assert internal strife and varying governance played significant roles. Nevertheless, these dry spells left indelible marks on the collective narrative of the Nile civilization. Your journey along the river reveals more than a struggle for survival. It is also a testament to human tenacity and adaptability. Communities, faced with adversity, often turn to innovative solutions. Attempts at engineering reservoirs or constructing alternate canals demonstrated resilience, tempered by ingenuity, a dusty precursor to modern brainstorming sessions that don't involve PowerPoint. In these desperate times, faith was reaffirmed in rituals aimed at appeasing the gods, praying fervently in sacred groves and temples. Priests, intimately tied to celestial forecasts, interpreted omens in the rustle of a palm frond or the pattern of raindrops. Their interpretations aimed to unlock celestial desires, nudging them toward favorable outcomes. As you walk through the parched landscape, you can feel a shifter marshalling of collective will, drawing strength from deep-seated beliefs of renewal. The river, even in its absence, becomes a symbol around which hope rallies, its dry bed whispering messages of both caution and possibility. Night cloaks the valley, starlight shimmering faintly on this enduring narrative of triumph and hardship carved into the Nile's evocative course. You find solace in an eternal kind of optimism, carried downstream from ancestors that walked these banks and treasured life's unlikely renewal again and again. With a heart softened by tales of resilience and humanity's ever-present dance around adversity, you venture forward. Your travels await further evolution, where river spirits resonate with faith and providence, hinting at river guardian myths and celestial echoes. Let the journey continue, observing the interplay of beliefs, whispers of divine protection, and dreams spun on the tendrils of time along the eternal embrace of the Nile. As the cool night settles over the Nile, a hushed kind of magic envelops the landscape. Here, legends of the river's protective spirits begin to take form. The ancient Egyptians didn't just see a flowing body of water. They envisioned a living entity, watched over by a pantheon of mythical guardians. It's as if every fog-blanketed bend and moonlit ripple carries the gentle touch of these enigmatic entities' divine watchmen along the banks of time. Imagine yourself, surrounded by the soft rustling of papyrus leaves as they whisper stories of guardian spirits known for their vigilance. Sobek, often depicted with the head of a crocodile, embodies both guardian and guide. His watchful eyes skim the river's surface, suggesting bold confidence wrapped in scaled regalia. The people entrusted not only their crops but their well-being to Sobek's vigilant eyes, believing him to repel invaders and ensure a thriving world. Just like a reptilian concierge, ensuring all stays splendid at the exclusive Nile resort. Standing at the water's edge, you can almost feel the secure embrace of these legendary protectors. They represent an unseen force, protecting the fragile balance between nature's provision and life's demands. You overhear an elder recount an old fable about a traveler guided safely through treacherous waters by a mysterious crocodile with glistening scaleses, though spoken directly to the stars. The river offered reassurance of inevitable protection when vulnerabilities loomed with unyielding certainty. This belief in divine guardianship meant that even in solitude, no one was truly alone while in proximity to the river's grace. Historians still debate the conceptual origins of these guardian myths, whether they were elastic creations evolving from early animistic beliefs or deeply rooted in oral traditions from neighboring territories. Yet they stand undiminished as a testament to the seamless blend of faith that resonated across the ages. There's a measure of comfort in imagining these protectors, of feeling them woven into the reed-bound tapestry of the Nile's narrative. Imagine Geb, the god of earth, underpinning existence with nurturing strength, or Khnum, the ram-headed creator god, crafting life upon a potter's wheel, his abode at the river's source, mingling clay with cosmic immortality. As the Nile meanders, so too do the spirits traverse its flow, wrapping mortals in their ethereal cloak. The human heart finds peace in this unique coalescencean, unsolvable riddle that echoes with humanity's longing for peace and prosperity. Listening closely, amid the gentle lapping of water on stone, you can almost discern the spirits' whispered encouragement. There's hope within their narratives, as they promise longevity and shelter beneath the river's sacred canopy. Within these guardians' watchful presence, you discover how river, myth, and existence are interwoven in a multi-layered tale of reverence, intermingling with survivaler, profound testament to beliefs across timelines. The river continues its undulating journey through history, carrying along stories of pharaohs, gods, and the vibrant lives lived beneath stars, and across sands the Nile's very breath infused in each current. Embrace the call to explore further down this storied waterway, where ambitious projects and pharaonic fantasies float upon its timeless tide. Onward, traveler, into landscapes where destiny and determination collide, pulling vistas of wonder unabated toward the expansive horizon ahead. As you stroll alongside the Nile, under the translucent glow of stars and an overarching sky stretching just as widely as any pharaoh's ambitions, you drift into the realm of monumental visions, those that dared to recalibrate the very course of this mighty river to suit imperial whims. In ancient Egypt, such dreams were not mere imaginings but palpable pursuits, echoing with the formidable aspirations of those who ruled. Picture yourself standing before a grand architectural model displayed in a royal court. Here, the pharaoh surveys a miniature of the Nile, with planned conduits and canals snaking through grains of golden sand, symbolizing future prosperity. These kings were not only rulers but also architects of their domain, and the Nile was their grand blueprint, a canvas of endless possibilities. Now, take a moment to appreciate the sheer brilliance of their schemes. Canals were constructed to divert water from the ever-benevolent Nile, with the vision of transforming arid lands into fertile expanses, a manifestation of the pharaoh's divine powers. Imagine the anticipation as engineers and laborers convene, discussing plans that would stretch resources and fortify borders. These were not mere public works, but testimonies to the godlike capabilities of the rulers, where commanding the Nile reinforced their celestial mandate. Historians still argue the scale and success of these irrigation projects. While some narratives paint vivid pictures of thriving lands transformed by these grand designs, others suggest challenges, unspoken variables of nature's whims, and the limits of the technologies at hand casting shadows on the grandeur. It's a historical version of asking if Rome was built in a day, except it involves an aqueous highway system. Fantasy melded with reality, for a pharaoh's declaration aligned with the river's divinity in a way that story and soil intertwined in complex plots. It was a sovereign endeavor, requiring precise calculation, robust labor, and, at times, a divine plea for favorable inundations. Imagine standing beside one of the colossal locks, channeling water into the plains. The echoes of jubilation in the air as barriers fall and the water courses forth, seeping into the soil and breathing life into villages. The resulting barrages and embankments expand not only territories but relationships, linking various riverine communities in shared purpose. Yet, beyond the grandiose, the river still whispers cautionary tales of unforeseen consequence. Misjudged scales or ill-managed floods could spawn conflict and hardship, testing both the trust and thresholds of once tight-knits within Egyptian society. In this ode to human ingenuity and risk, you sense not just the ambition, but the philosophical resonance underpinned by understanding the essence of nature and humanity. The Nile, even when redesigned, remained a river of mystery, simultaneously generous and unpredictable, quality understood well by the pharaohs and their architects. While stars twinkle in approval or mirth high above, differences of perspective between celestial intent and earthly execution remained reconciled through tradition, faith, and the river's own eternal mediation. You walk away from the ambitious blueprint, enveloped by a sense of belonging in this historic narrative where the supernatural harmoniously mingles with the scientific on lush rivulets of vision and determination. The river moves, carrying new tales of explorations that hint at the curiosities and interactions with foreign lands and cultures drawn to the Nile's magnetic pull. Bind your sandals, traveler, for the next leg of your journey propels you to meet the Nile's legacy, woven across borders and time, in exchanges galactic and terrestrial. As the Nile's currents guide you further down its storied path, you begin to sense an increasing tremor of excitement, a kind of magnetic allure, pulling people from lands far and wide to its fertile banks. The Nile's reputation as a cradle of civilization and a conduit of wealth has reached distant shores, sparking curiosity among foreign visitors eager to behold the life-giving river in its full splendor. Imagine caravans appearing on the horizon, their silhouettes framed by the rising sun. These routes extend beyond Egypt's borders, drawing traders, explorers, and even the occasional diplomat in search of the Nile's treasures. The river becomes a living artery of international exchange, its waters carrying tales of far-off realms to local ears, eager for new stories and ideas. Upon reaching the river's edge, foreign visitors find themselves awestruck by the Nile's majesty, their own histories becoming tributaries that merge with Egypt's grand narrative. The air is filled with a mix of dialects and scents, frankincense and myrrh, ivory and spices goods exchanged alongside tales of adventure. Meet an emissary from the far reaches of Punt, delighting in the animated, bustling river market. They are trading their exotic goods for Egyptian gold, both guardedly curious about each other's culture and attire. Conversations weave through myths and realities, their exchange dancing along the Nile's banks. You may overhear one diplomat's jest about Egypt's ever-present cats, wishing their land could borrow some of the sleek guardians for equally adventurous rodent pursuits. Laughter ensues, bridging appreciation for shared wonders with a spirit of friendly rivalry. To them, the concept of feline laureates is endlessly amusing, perhaps enough to encapsulate in a stone engraving. Historians still debate the extent and influence of foreign interaction on Egyptian society. While some assert a vast network sustained through complex barter systems, others argue for more conservative exchanges, focusing on luxury items for the elitier historical picture, akin to debating whether trade was conducted on Amazon Prime or through a charming medieval bazaar. Amid these exchanges, the Nile retains its central role as an axis of connectivity and opportunity. It facilitates not only the flow of tangible treasures, but intangible ideas, forging links between distinct worlds. Enhanced agricultural techniques, artistic expressions, and technological advancements flow in all directions, earthbound cosmic confluence. The mingling of cultures leaves traces in attire, craftsmanship, and philosophy, exposing even oneself to new perspectives. Foreign travelers marvel at the grace of Egyptian gods and the harmonious blend of pragmatic invention woven with divine inspiration, bringing this celestial allure to other realms they call home. You walk alongside representatives through the colorful market lanes, where local merchants welcome foreign patrons with a mix of curiosity and excitement. Each transaction strengthens the bond between societies, paving the way for shared understanding and growth, carried not just by goods, but through friendships that span lands and languages. As dusk settles upon the bustling riverside, foreign visitors depart towards their distant abodes, leaving behind whispers of stories shared and horizons expanded. Their paths are threads in the Nile's expansive tapestry-woven net that captures dreams, aspirations, and the promise of further journeys. The river continues its narrative onward, beckoning with its timeless call. Each ripple insists on its role as bearer of mysteries, ready to explore the creative prowess inspired along its banks in art and craft, a world where life flourishes at the hands of artisans, sculpting legacies in clay, stone, and story. Embrace this revelation and rest for the night, ready to voyage into realms of creativity, where the Nile's blessings infuse purpose and innovation among those who dare to claim it as both muse and master. As dawn breaks afresh upon the Nile, the river breathes life into another vibrant day along its lush banks. Here, at the threshold of innovation and tradition, dwell the artisans, masterful weavers of culture and history. Their hands transform the bounty of the river into objects of beauty and utility, subtly draping the threads of existence with creativity and craftsmanship. Imagine stepping into a bustling workshop, where the air hums with the sounds of industry and artistry. Clinking, chipping, and rhythmic tapping form a symphony, as tools meet stone, wood, and metal. The warm scent of wood shavings mixes with the earthy aroma of wet clay, while chatter and laughter rise above the crisp morning air. Life in this artisan enclave thrives in joyous purpose. Wander over to the potter's wheel, where an artisan's hands skillfully mold the pliant Nile clay with finesse. You watch as a shapeless mound metamorphoses into a gracefully curving urn, its surface etched with hieroglyphs that echo tales of riverside prosperity. The pottery is sun-baked, then kailine-fired, each piece a reflection of artistry fused with the timeless wisdom inscribed from this fertile crescent. Nearby, a cluster of weavers tends to their looms, transforming flax fibers, gathered from the river's fertile banks, into delicate linen. Watch as their practiced movements weave patterns under sunlight, streaming through thatched roofs. With a palette informed by naturey-earth tones, azure blues, and verdant greens, the woven cloths capture the essence of life alongside the Nile, where gown and garment flutter softly like river reeds in gentle breeze. Join the stone carvers, who chip away at hefty blocks of limestone, carrying echoes of past explosions along the valley's silent corridors. In their hands, static rock becomes vibrant lithoreplicas of gods, people, animals, each creation, a snapshot of the world as seen through the eyes of the ancients. Faces, frozen in time, gaze back at you from eternity, their features still hauntingly alive under layers of ancient dust. Explore the wood and metalworkers' domain. These artisans are responsible for crafting the fine furniture and ornate tools that fill homes and temples alike. From this activity emerge thrones inlaid with precious gems and intricate figures, shields that display the emblems of dynastic rule, and musical instruments sculpted to offer melodies across the Nile's broad expanse. You see how human ingenuity harnesses nature's provisions, leading to creations holding both practical and spiritual significance. Consider the jewelry makers, who craft adornments of electruma, luminous blend of gold and silver accented with vibrant turquoise, lapis lazuli, and carnelian. Each piece, painstakingly formed, catches sunlight in dazzling displays of color, echoing the river's sparkling surface at midday. Necklaces drape an array of colors like vibrant whispers, imparting promises of protection and divine favor, a tangible blessing from the Nile. Historians still debate whether these crafted treasures were owned primarily by the elite or enjoyed as a reflection of society at large. What remains certain is that the wealth of craftsmanship embedded along the Nile is an indelible part of Egypt's cultural identity. Celebration of resourcefulness and inspiration flowing through every stitch, brushstroke, and cut of chisel. Move among these workshops, each labor a living testament to the river's blessings, and you observe how art serves as a bridge between worlds, uniting human hands and Earth's bounty in an everlasting covenant of creation. This creative grandeur perpetuates a story complete with inspiration and perspiration, a tale waiting to resonate through the canvases of time. As evening returns, casting gauzy shadows across the vibrant tableau, you step back to appreciate this intricate tapestry of creativity and resilience strung lightly along the river's inexorable path. Bow to this legacy, knowing the Nile's song invites you to continue the journey where words and wisdom are wrought from the papyrus. Prepare to immerse yourself in the oldest stories told in stone, the narratives woven deep within the fibers of this ancient civilization at the genesis of written word. Here, the river entices you into realms of lore, learning, and the infinite dance of language that transcends eternity. The Nile flows as a silent observer of countless stories, carrying whispers of wisdom and discovery in its embrace. As you wander deeper into the heart of Egypt's intellectual legacy, you arrive at the birthplace of written history, the realm of papyrus. Here, nestled along the riverbanks, scribes transform fibrous reeds into scrolls that capture the chronicles of civilization, bridging time with ink-stained fingers. Imagine entering a bustling scriptorium, the air thick with the subtle scent of freshly pressed papyrus, a fragrant mix of earthy and green undertones, reminiscent of the river itself. The rhythmic scratch of reed pens echoes softly as scribes bend intently over their delicate work, confined within the harmonious confines of parchment, reverberating with possibility. A nearby craftsman demonstrates the art of papyrus production. He deftly slices long, green reeds harvested from the river's marshy fringes, their fibers promising stories yet untold. He carefully lays the strips in crisscross patterns, pressing them until they meld into sheets under a weighted stony handcrafted canvas, awaiting the stroke of creativity. As you examine a finished scroll, your fingers trace hieroglyphics that leap vibrantly from the pages, symbols that sing the songs of kings and deities, daily life, and inspired dreams. These glyphs, both enigmatic and elegant, serve as markers of language's evolution, spanning epochs and ensuring the Nile's tale resonates across lands and cultures like poetry etched in the grain of history. The scribes, clad in linen robes, unite artistry with scholarship as they inscribe everything from accounts of grain harvests to cosmological prophecies, recording the wisdom of temples, the decrees of kings, and the tales woven through myth and reality. Each stroke of their reed pen delivers an imprinted promise to grasp eternity by crafting it in syntax and symbol. The process of crafting these scrolls is meticulous. Historians still debate the origins of specific symbols and their meanings, pondering over the influence of various ancient scripts converging at the timeless crossroad of Nile. Yet what endures is the fundamental truth that these scrolls capture an evolving narrative that inscribes humanity's divine curiosity and age-old wisdom. Imagine soaring over timelines, each scroll revealing perspectives that transcend mortality, carrying messages from realm to realm. As you stand among the scribes, you picture academic debates flourishing in candlelit rooms, intellectual hubs where students gather to dissect texts and form philosophies, bridging the divine and the mundane. Nearby, papyrus becomes an artistic canvas for intricate illustrations accompanying tantalizing texts. Picture a burgeoning marketplace where fisherman and philosopher alike engage in intellectual exchange, their conversations guided by the wealth of accumulated knowledge fastened by ink and reed to papyrus, as their discussions reflect multidimensional brilliance. The setting sun casts the scriptorium in a gentle glow, turning its walls to gold. The Nile carries reflections of past musings, and the written words journey as scrolls are bundled and distributed to archives across the known world. These artifacts of civilization create a written testament that transcends geography and time, enlightening without boundaries. Feeling the weight of this timeless communication, you cherish the legacy of knowledge encapsulated within each scroll. It is a legacy that echoes through the ages, ensuring the Nile's voice whispers eternally through the symbols etched upon the heart of the ages. As night cascades across the river's stretch, covering the scrolls and those who transcribe them under a velvet veil flecked with stars, your journey continues. The promise of exploration beckons anew, towards realms where practicality and protection are birthed from the river's influences. Let the stars guide your steps, and the river's sound softens your path onward into domains where the tools of trade and the implements of survival illuminate the dance of evolution alongside the riverbanks, infused with the ingenuity and resilience of past and present. As the first light spills over the horizon, gilding the Nile in a tapestry of anticipation, you find yourself drawn into a realm where function meets form, the world of tools and trade, shaped by this enduring river. Here, the interconnection between necessity and creativity comes alive, with artifacts crafted not only for survival, but for protection and prosperity. Picture the scene on the bustling riverbank. Artisans and traders mingle, exchanging goods with fervent energy. You see tools stacked high, waiting to venture with fishermen, farmers, and builders alike. The scent of sweat, wood smoke, and the earthy aroma of wet clay mingles, forging a salutation to the spirits of industry. Steel, bronze, and stone gleam under the sun's rays. Blacksmiths hammer out sturdy blades from raw metal, the clamor harmonizing with the busy life unfolding around them. Each swing of the hammer transforms molten potential into tangible reality, a series of elegant balances, making symphony with the river's nurturing hum. Imagine stepping closer to a weapon dealer's cart, where battle-ready tools lay arrayed. Egyptians, known for their remarkable military campaigns, understood that warfare was as much about preparation as it was about strategy. You find yourself admiring a well-crafted kopshit's distinctive curved blade, whispering stories of both defense and dominion. Historians still argue the exact origins of the khopesh, speculating sweeps of influence from Canaanite and Mesopotamian design. What's undeniable, though, is its place within the realm of Egyptian tactics, blending efficacy with an aesthetic reminiscent of a cat's flexible grace. Its edge serving as inequivalent of a modern multi-tool slicing through problems with decisiveness. Turn your gaze towards the practical instruments that enhance daily life. Farmers wield sickles deftly through ripe fields of grain, their reflective curves orchestrating harvests in rhythm with the river's eternal beat. Each swipe harmonizes necessity with tradition, ushering crops from soil to storeroom beneath the watchful eye of Hapi, the god of inundation. Beyond the fields, nets glisten with dew, crafted by fishermen skilled at coaxing the river's bounty to the surface. These ensnaring webs, woven with finesse and fixation, remind you of life's eternal dance with the elements, where sustenance hangs by threads both literal and metaphysical. Alongside practicality, you observe the river's influence on protection. Shields, helmets, and chest plates undergo transformation from mere functionality to intricate displays of cultural prowess, like wearing an ancient Egyptian life insurance policy. Artisans inlay these pieces with lapis and turquoise, channeling the river's hues into talismans against misfortune. You glance at two merchants bartering over hawksbells traded from distant lands, their lively debate carried by the river's willing ears. The Nile fosters these exchanges, its liquid traverse allowing goods and ideas to ripple outward to the rest of the world. In this ecosystem of craftsmanship, you sense the broader narrative at play, an evolving cycle, endowed by the river's presence, shaping the contours of human endeavor. The tools not only signify survival, but demonstrate growth and potential, reflecting the resilience infused within every fiber of this illustrious civilization. As the sun rises higher, casting glancing light upon the river's surface, you watch as traders pack their wares, embarking upon journeys toward bustling marketplaces along the Nile. They share laughter and drink as boats set sail, ensconcing the continuity of culture within the elaborate textures of woven commerce. With these instruments of survival, you are guided deeper yet along the winding journey toward tales of empowerment and the emerging influence of women who claim the river's strength as their own. Their stories, too, hang like ornaments upon the branches of the Nile, waiting for you to pluck them from the river's inexhaustible tapestry of life. Onward, to realms where influence and identity merge, guided once more by the river's fluid embrace, where history endlessly holds its breath, waiting for someone to listen. As you continue your exploration along the Nile's timeless path, the warmth of the sun embraces you, illuminating a world where the echoes of women's voices resound with purpose and grace. Here, alongside Egypt's eternal river, you meet the daughters of the Nile women whose roles and rights were etched into the very sands that form the foundation of their civilization. Imagine the scene. In bustling villages and serene homes alike, women weave the intricate fabric of daily life, their skilled hands in tandem with the river's flows. They play multifaceted roles: nurturers, artisans, priestesses, and even rulers, claiming their place amid the legacies forged upon the fertile land. Pause for a moment to picture a family gathered under a canopy of palm leaves. Watch as a mother instructs her daughter in the art of spinning linen thread from flax, the strands soft and delicate in their hands. The gentle rhythm of their work mirrors the river's continuity, a legacy passed down through matrilineal lines, skillfully grounding generations within the sacred cycle of growth and renewal. Women are also central to religious life, serving as priestesses to revered deities. They wield spiritual authority within the temples, conducting rituals that encompass the divine mysteries of creation and restoration. The goddess Isis, embodying the force of both protection and rebirth, inspires them, infusing mists of myth with tangible maternal authority, an everlasting bridge between earth and celestial spheres. Still, you find the most stirring images among depictions of Hatshepsut, a woman who ascended to the throne as pharaoh. Her reign symbolizes the ultimate fusion of feminine wisdom and pharaonic power, a duality that redefines the river itself, its gentle embrace, balanced by untamed grandeur. Standing amidst splendid walls adorned with her likeness, your heart recognizes the echoes of audacity whispering through time, woven delicately alongside threads clad in sunlight. Historians still debate just how much influence women had across every echelon of Egyptian civilization. While some argue that female power was limited to the domestic sphere, artifacts and records suggest that women held positions of authority and engaged in trade, governance, and land ownership. A nuanced chorus of voices praises women as vital contributors, swelling like an aria sung beneath the infinite sky. As you walk, you notice a group gathering along the riverbank, women laughing together as they beat clothes against smooth stones, the sound a comforting pulse alongside the gentle river breeze. They share stories, singing songs that stretch across time to the present, harmonizing existence itself along the river's edge. Observe the women, engaging in trade, bargaining astutely in the crowded market square. Their voices cut through the vibrant noise, demonstrating a firm grasp of commerce and an understanding of Nile-born abundancy, a flourishing expression of autonomy within the socio-economic framework. In the field of medicine, women leave their indelible mark as healers and midwives. They wield herbal remedies prepared from the rich flora surrounding the Nile, preserving life and compassion in equal measure. Their knowledge of ancient texts and healing rituals reflect an intertwined pursuit of science and spirituality. The late afternoon sun gracefully tips toward the horizon, casting a golden light across the river's surface. In this realm where the ancient past converses intimately with a timeless future, you find not only memories of these remarkable women but resonant melodies of their aspirations and achievements. Gaze downstream toward the unknown, as the enduring presence of the Nile reminds you of the collective legacy forged by women amidst Egypt's majestic narrative. Wherever the river's flow touches, you recognize an eternal backdrop upon which the essence of femininity and survival is forever etched. Take a moment to evoke gratitude for these stories, intimately woven into the fabric of memory. The river invites you to journey onward, stepping into landscapes where nature and diversity flourish in the wilder places, offering sanctuary and sustenance alike. Let curiosity and courage guide you toward the lush tapestry of flora and fauna thriving under the Nile's vigilant gaze, as the river beckons you toward horizons alight with potential. As the Nile twists and turns on its magnificent course, you find yourself approaching the wilder shores where Egypt's vibrant ecosystems thrive. Here, nature unfurls her tapestry in a display of flora and fauna, with each leaf, petal, and creature representing threads in a living quilt that stretches beyond the horizon. The river, a nurturing force, offers refuge and sustenance, crafting a paradise within this ancient land. Imagine walking through a verdant grove, the cool shade providing momentary respite from the sun's embrace. The scent of blooming lotus flowers saturates the air with a sweet, ethereal perfume, while the gentle rustle of tall papyrus reeds whispers promises of stories etched through time. This aquatic plant, growing abundantly along the river's edge, is far more than a potential scroll. It's shelter and breeding ground for creatures large and small, a haven fashioned by the Nile's hand. Turn your attention skyward, where the majestic beauty of Nile's aviary boasts a kaleidoscope of colors. Egrets and herons glide gracefully across the azure sky, their elongated forms etching elegance into the river's reflection. Ibises wade through shallows with leisurely purpose, and kingfishers in dazzling blue dart along the surface, capturing fleeting glimpses of their own shimmering hues. Venture further, and you are greeted by the mimosa tree's delicate leaves and the lingering aroma of acacias, each acting as both inspiration for perfumers and a tangible symbol of resilience in Egypt's harsh climates. They embody the balance of fragility and endurance, a harmony sustained by this most generous river. Historians still argue the precise origins of some flora and whether certain species arrived via ancient trade routes or arose, like myths, from the very soil. Either way, these endemic landscapes populate a landscape of vibrant biological richness and beautification, adored by the senses and relished by poets and painters alike. Along the river's edge, you can almost hear the splash as Nile crocodiles, those ancient sentinels, laze upon sun-warmed banks, embodying the sublime power of nature's primeval instinct. Their enigmatic eyes hint at tales of centuries past, offering a subtle warning of the delicate connection between nature's gifts and nature's guardianship. Elsewhere, the felines of the wild jackals and wildcats prowl, under the cover of dense brush, swift and silent. These creatures of the night are figures of both mystery and reverence. Experience the thrill of imaginings come alive, their movements, a reminder that the river sustains not just civilization, but the wilderness itself, teeming with life and alert with possibility. You gaze into the river's depths, contemplating the invigorating blend of seen and unseen world. Fish dart beneath the calm surface, and turtles bask near the shores, weaving dreams interlaced with silvery currents, reflecting sunshine and shadow alike. They are silent actors in a timeless theatre, where the river plays both stage and audience, guiding and witnessing life's eternal cycles. This splendid realm tells a story of interconnected Nessa, mingling of diversity bound solely by the Nile's presence, where the ebb and flow of water molds all things magnificent and minute. It invites contemplation on the unity of creation and sustenance, in a context made personal by those who bend to drink at its banks and revel in its quiet benediction. As evening descends upon this paradisaical landscape, you linger in the river's embrace, appreciating its ability to cradle, nourish, and inspire, revealing the hidden gems of natural wonder that cast light upon this storied civilization. The Nile, as much a guardian of existence as its creatures, leads you onward further down its path where whispers of change float on the horizon. The river is ever steadfast, yet the world it touches shifts and turns, offering new stories where the past and present mingle in placid eddies of discovery. Continue the journey, inspired by the river's sanctity, drawn toward tales of transformation, decline, and adaptation. These narratives, nestled along the banks as ancient oak roots grasp the soil, await your next steps, challenging you to uncover insights carried by the currents of time and change. As the sun rises over the tranquil waters of the Nile, you find yourself at the crossroads of transformation and adaptation. The river, which has been the heart of Egyptian civilization, now witnesses a shift in its role and significance. You stand with the currents, ready to explore the nuances of change that ripple through the landscape, altering how this mighty river interacts with the world it once solely sustained. In the time-honored villages along the Nile's edge, where life has continuously ebbed and flowed with the river's rhythm, there emerges a gradual awareness that the world is expanding beyond the familiar confines of the riverbanks. Here, mud brick homes stand alongside palm trees, storage granaries, and small sand-covered streets filled with the warm chatter of children at play. Yet, in this scene, there's a palpable tension, a curiosity charged with both potential and anxiety as the river's significance undergoes subtle yet undeniable evolution. Imagine observing a gathering in the village square, where tradesmen engage in lively discussions about trade shifting to overland routes, driven by geopolitical influences and the alluring prospects of Mediterranean and Red Sea connections. The Nile, once the uncontested icon of trade and transport, feels the stirrings of redirection, a crossroads moment where alternatives beckon, redefining economy and engagement. Among the players is a grizzled merchant, recounting tales of caravans weaving through sandy deserts, carrying exotic goods from Egypt's heartland to the wider Mediterranean basin. It's an enticing picture of enterprising reinvention, a challenge to consider how the Nile's role might adapt to this expanding world. In quieter moments beneath the minaret's towering gaze, equally captivating might be a debate over how timescale affects the river's relevance in existential determination and identity formation. Historians still argue the extent to which external pressures from trade shifts to the decline of monumental construction altered the Nile's centrality in Egyptian life. The challenge of balance emerges, where ancient sustenance meets modern opportunities, like a timeless tug-of-war across interwoven networks of touchpoints, perspectives, and potentialities. Adjacent to the market, you envision a group of young innovators, bent over scrolls unfurled, striving to harness the Nile's energies differently. Using newly acquired knowledge from beyond Egypt's borders, they consider innovations in hydraulics and mechanics, listening intently as an architect shares visions for harnessing the Nile's kinetic force to power grinding mill pioneering concepts amidst the realm of agriculture and infrastructure. As shadows lengthen, the familiar clatter of wooden carts transitioning to iron wheels resonates across cobbled pathways. You see the intergenerational exchange of ideas. Grandmother's lacework blends history with the next generation's ambition for change. Purpose found in weaving both future and past together like a seamless tapestry. Yet, even as transforming tides shift horizons, the Nile's whispers never truly fade, but rather adapt within bustling cities and quiet hamlets alike. Its presence, though less dominant, echoes subtly across freshly tilled fields and whispered deliberations of cultural identity, river's remembrance entwined with the passing of an era. Nature herself joins the symphony of change, with changing river patterns creating new ecological niches and relationships. Along its length, flora and fauna rise and fall in response, the ebb and flow fostering uniquely diverse ecosystems that herald subtle adaptations wrought by time. The moon rises, casting liquid shadows upon the river's surface, and you grasp that the Nile endures, steadfast yet fluid, a metaphorical mirror, reflecting humanity's continual dance between continuity and change. A world in transformation, adjusting and acclimating to external rhythms while honoring the river's traces embedded within memory and narrative, the continuation of life's passageways lightly borne upon its ancient currents. Prepare now to venture further, where the river meets the domain of finality and new beginnings, signifying places of rest and rebirth. The Nile carries you forward yet again its cadence, inviting exploration of stories coursing through tombs and secrets, nestled within the otherworldly geography of eternity. As the moon's gentle glow casts serene reflections upon the shifting waters of the Nile, your journey leads you to a sacred threshold, the realm of the final resting places of the ancients. Here, the river stands as both guide and guardian to a passage beyond life, where skyline silhouettes fade into the horizon, punctuated by the towering presence of tombs and the whispered secrets they hold. Imagine approaching one such majestic necropolis, where the stones themselves seem to resonate with echoes of history's grandeur. The Valley of the Kings rises before you, nestling within its folds the intricately carved tombs of pharaohs and noblestries etched in stone, meant to transcend time itself. The air is thick with reverence, touched by the musty scent of ancient earth, imbued with both the finality and promise of eternity. You step towards the entrance of a tomb, lined with hieroglyphs narrating the journey beyond. These scripts, masterfully engraved in vibrant colors, illustrate passages from the Book of the Dead, a guide for the soul's voyage through the underworld, promising safe passage towards eternal life. To imagine such narratives embedded within the stone-like cosmic travel guides replete with sage advices to recognize an eternal faith binding earth to stars, transience to timelessness. Inside the tomb, your senses are enveloped by the cool, unwavering silence, only occasionally disturbed by the distant drip of moisture or the scuttle of creatures respecting their stone-bound hosts. Within these confines lie painted walls alive with gods and sacred myths, portraying enormous challenges and rewards awaiting the soul's journey. As you gaze upon such frescoes, you almost sense the watchful eyes of Anubis, jackal-headed, guiding and weighing the hearts of those who roamed here long before a celestial balance sheet recording deeds and destinies. Historians still debate the specifics of various funerary practices, whether emphasizing chambers of wealth or simplicity based on rank and fortune. Nevertheless, these tombs serve as testament to a society deeply engrossed in the promise of eternity, their architectural feats contributing to this ultimate narrative. Your thoughts turn towards the artful carvings on the walls, their rich pigments telling stories of things left behind, possessions meticulously packed for journeys faced beyond mortal reach. Containers bear tokens of the world that was: boats, jewels, perfumisa, poignant reminder of life's transient joys, transforming into spiritual necessities. The Nile itself, that primordial protector, runs adjacent to these tombs, honoring and echoing life's eternal cycle. Its currents carry distant whispers into the underworld, a stream of consciousness uniting realms lived and dreamed. It's an elegant symphonia dance of liquid history mirrored in eternity's promise, where the river serves as the ultimate consort on this shared journey. Imagine the scenes outside. Funerary boats floating upon the Nile, carrying offerings and prayers mingled within the mournful chants of loved ones. Offerings are cast into the water-floral tributes and libations, spreading ripples across the surface, commemorations of vibrant legacies meeting depths unfathomable and unseen. The solemnity of the moment is lightened by the belief that life's end is simply a threshold, the river, a bridge to unknown dimensions and profound beginnings. These spaces hold not only echoes of love and loss, but whispers of rebirth, reflections within the river's depths that speak of continuance and renewal. With newfound reverence, you step from the shadows of the necropolis, the moon still watching over your path. The stars are strewn across the heavens like forgotten dreams, reborn in celestial embrace, and the river mirrors their glow, guiding you toward unexplored chapters awash in the mystery and marvel of Egyptian life. Let the passage begin, toward those celestial alignments where the sky and ground entwine in awe-inspiring celestial spectaclisa, continuum of faith, knowledge, and wonderment carried upon cosmic rivers, woven through time and eternity. The night sky unfolds over the Nile like a glittering tapestry, each star a glowing stitch in the cosmic quilt. This celestial wonder invites you to explore the profound connections between the heavens and the earth that captivated ancient Egyptian minds. For the people who lived by the Nile, the stars weren't just distant points of light, but anchors of knowledge and guidancia, cosmic language written across eternity. Picture yourself lying on the cool sand beside the river, gazing up as the stars twinkle brightly against the inky backdrop. The familiar constellations emerge, crafting stories that transcend earthly time. Orion, the hunter, known to Egyptians as Osiris, king of the afterlife, strides boldly across the sky, his celestial form mirrored in the vast desert landscape. The sages and observers of the ancient world paid close attention to these shimmering guides. Imagine them on tall platforms built atop temples, their eyes fixed on the sky, tracking the movements of stars, planets, and the bright gaze of Sirius the great dog. Measuring the heavens, they developed a profound understanding of celestial cycles, interweaving them with the rhythms of the Nile. One of these rhythms included the annual rising of Sirius in the pre-dawn sky, heralding the inundation of the Nile. This cosmic event signaled not only the renewal of the land, but affirmed the divine order, a celestial promise reflected on the Earth's surface. This synchronization of astronomical events fostered a deeper perception of consistency and life-giving potential. Historians still debate the extent of astronomical knowledge available to the ancients, some suggesting vast compendiums of observations, while others question more rudimentary stargazing aided by mythology. Yet the astronomical alignments in temple constructions and the architectural wonders of the pyramids stand testament to their sophisticated understanding of the stars. The Great Pyramid of Giza, its sides aligning almost perfectly with the four cardinal points, captures not only the precision of engineering, but also its symbolic representation, cosmic alignment, unifying the pharaoh with divine eternity. Under its monumental shadow, astronomical theories take shape, leading to rooms, shafts, and passageways pointing towards celestial phenomenon, embedding starry guidance into monumental stone. With such knowledge, the Nile was framed as a reflection of the milky band running across the sky, the earthly manifestation of the celestial river, where the gods themselves rode through eternity, a mirrored twin through grand symphonies of cosmic reverence. It calls to you, whispering tales of sidereal journeys and ethereal aspirations. Inspired by these endless journeys writ in the sky, priests etched cosmic maps upon papyrus, guiding the soul's passage through the afterlife in alignment with the night's luminous guardians. The celestial cow, Nut, arching across the sky, envelops the world in starry expanse, making the eternal cycle complete. You imagine nighttime festivals along the Nile's bank, citizens gazing toward the heavens, their collective breath held in awe, affirming cosmic harmony. Star clusters cast their soft light over the water, mingling with lanterns and laughter, where people play drum and dance beneath the watchful eyes of their celestial kin. Onward through the ages, the dual movements of river and star influence perspectives on knowledge and time. With each passing generation, the sky's illuminating stories translate ancient mystery into wisdom, invoked by the Nile's flower master, symbiosis of water and wings, weaving memory into destiny. As the night deepens further, you drift between the visions of the past and the possibilities they promised, enchanted by the endless allure of the skies mirrored below. These cosmic secrets, penned along the Nile's scroll of stars, draw you towards stories of resourcefulness and limit tales of prosperity and depletion echo along these ancient shores. Guided by the celestial and earthly dance, you prepare for a journey into the stewardship of abundance, where the modern and the ancient weave a shared narrative of origins bound by the life-giving source flowing eternally through this world. As the first light of dawn caresses the Nile's silvered surface, a complex tapestry of contrast emerges, a reflection of both limitless bounty and the finite tensions of resource exhaustion. Here lies a narrative woven into the very fabric of Egyptian life, where prosperity intermingles with the pressing reality of sustainability and stewardship. Imagine yourself journeying through a fertile delta, where the land stretches vastly on each side of the river, a patchwork of green fields dotted with workers laboring in unrelenting rhythm. The harvest is abundant, a testimony to the life-giving waters of the Nile, which has sustained this civilization for millennia. Wheat and barley sway in the gentle breeze, their golden heads promising sustenance and celebration. Yet beneath this abundance lies an undercurrent of concern, seen in the furrowed brows of farmers who understand the delicate balance they must maintain between fertility and depletion. As they sow and reap, they're acutely aware of nature's capriciousness, the dance between surplus and scarcity, tenuously linked to the river's ebbs and flows. The wisdom of Nile's abundance is matched by periods when demands strain beyond its customary generosity. Imagine debates amongst dignitaries and scribes' conversations punctuated by the click of beads as calculations of stockpile and allocation are made, deliberating how best to steward these gifts to ensure future viability. Here, prudence tussles with ambition on the stage of Egypt's agricultural armistice. You overhear ripples of conversation surrounding the construction of grandiose projects, barrages, and canals, conceived under Pharaoh's vision attempts to distribute resources equitably and ensure that even the most remote lands bask in the river's benediction. However, such undertakings require not just innovation, but judicious utilization of the Nile's offerings to prevent the suffering of exhaustiona discourse, reminiscent of ancient environmental summits cloaked in royal garb. Historians still argue the broader context of resource management, contemplating the administrative proficiency required to wield such power and the thresholds of sustainability navigated by the ancients. Discussions as to whether their foresight anticipated sustenance or proffered overextension whisper between narratives of success and caution. Beyond the cultivated fields, you witness tensions straddling rich pastures and expanding populations, demographic growth urging a steady pull on the river's bosom. As more hands beseech the river to ensure food security, conversations turn towards technological advancements to stretch capacity tools, and innovations crafted to redistribute labor and glean productivity from the earth's nourishing grasp. Amidst contracting margins, whispers of conservation carry, gentle reminders beneath the gentle rustle of the Nile's reeds. The importance of preserving what the river provides underpins a philosophy interwoven in the layers of belief and practicality, where the economy thrives alongside surplus stewardship. Even the creatures along the Nile seem aware of the balance, harmonizing their activities with the river's seasonal song. Fishermen, respectful of the life cycle within the river depths, adjust their nets accordingly to sustain future bounty, knowing fully well that each cast today resonates with tomorrow's provisions. The Nile's narrative unfolds in lessons cherished across eras, encapsulating the epitome of reverence toward natural gifts, the tales of resilience and legacy, enriched on stones and papyrus alike, revealing Egypt's wily philosophers who foresaw beyond prosperity into preservation. As you drift downstream, enveloped by the serenity and wisdom of these lush banks, the sun hovers zenith-bound, casting a warm golden hue, infusing life with vibrant continuity before its eventual descent. The river, iridescent, continues carrying stories new and old, guiding you further toward tales steeped in the mysteries of legends, myths twisted beyond mere geography. Allow the flowing rhythm to lead you on, amidst whispers of legend, where the boundaries of reality and conception blur in a tapestry that paints the Nile as more than a riverine entity, alive with dimensions yet uncovered. Journey forth, deeper into myths sprung immortal upon the river's pulses. As the afternoon sun bathes the Nile in a lustrous glow, you find yourself drawn into a realm where reality and imagination dance, where the river, pulsing with life, becomes more than a geographical feature. It transforms into a mystical entity, teeming with legends that shift and shimmer like the reflections upon its surface, beckoning you into the heart of Egypt's storytelling traditions. Imagine walking along the river's edge, as whispers from centuries past weave through the rustling of reeds. Here, every ripple carries a yarn spun from the Nile's depths, tales not bound to papyrus or stone, but sustained upon the breath of generations. These legends, a confluence of myth and fact, invite you to explore the wondrous interplay of possibility and belief sculpted by time and imagination. You pause beside a storyteller, an elder whose eyes reflect the twilight hued in mystery. His voice, rich and resonant, weaves ancestral tales that hint at the river's hidden depths. You hear of the goddess Hathor, who, in one myth, danced across the river to bring joy and life each year, her joyous laughter mingling with every dawn, the ripples of her dance spreading fertility downstream. Consider the legend of the Bennu bird, an early symbol of resurrection and renewal. This sacred creature was said to rise from the heart of the flames upon the river's benediction. Much like the famous phoenix, the Bennu represents the cyclical nature of existence, soaring high above the waters to oversee Egypt's eternal cycle, connecting the earth below to the heavens above. Historians still ponder the role such legends played within society, mere whimsical tales or moral teachings hidden within captivating narratives. These stories, nestled in the collective consciousness of Egyptian civilization, test the borders of reality and reflection, each a testament to humanity's boundless capacity for storytelling shaped by nature's mystery. Gaze across the expanse of the river, imagining yourself as a young child, listening on a moonlit night by the hearth as lore unfolds with the swirling embers, depicting the Nile as the very backbone of existence. Such legends evoke the essence of the river as a deity unto itself, an ever-present force, guiding, testing, and rewarding its people. These stories unveil the beauty of coexistence between the tangible and the fanciful, the known and the unknown. Carried on the river's whispers are fragments of tales that speak to the soul of the land, crafting a rich tapestry painted with the vibrant hues of mythic imagination. Beyond the stories of gods and creatures, you hear tales of human heroes and heroines, people who, through cunning or courage, carved their destinies with the Nile as their constant ally. Stories echoing with triumph, adventure, and wisdom, revealing the heart's aspirational pulse thrumming beneath the earthly might of the river, affirming courage, love, and redemption. As the sun descends, casting its final rays over the rhythmic flow, you sense rivers of tradition yielding newer deltas of legend, layers upon layers of history and fantasy interwoven along the Nile's dazzling course. Each story, a tributary of human creativity, flows into a sea of collective memory and imagination, carrying flecks of truth upon the swirling melody of yearning questions. Embrace these myths, immersive and mysterious, as the line between legend and reality sways gently, embalmed by the tender nuances of belief. These stories, born of the river, invite reflection upon your journey, labyrinthine route charted upon the river's embrace that kindles all manner of discovery alongside myths resurrected anew. Prepare for the last step of this journey, where time turns full circle and the river's whispers wind down to a gentle lullaby, carrying you towards a modern embrace where echoes of the past linger softly amid streams of continuity and remembrance. Let the myths guide you onward, toward final dreams and reassuring waters where ancient silence converges with tales yet to come. As the journey along the Nile draws to a close, the river, now embracing the soft silence of twilight, guides you to a realm where modern life and ancient echoes harmoniously intertwine. The whispers of history mingle with the gentle hum of contemporary existence, creating a serene tapestry of times old and new, weaving together past experiences and future dreams with delicate threads of continuity. Walk by the river's edge one final time, where the air, infused with the scent of jasmine and cooling sand, invites reflection on the landscape that has unfurled before you. The Bischendorf lilies, with their gentle white blooms, sway in the evening breeze, each petal a reminder of life's ephemeral beauty, and like the enduring river, a testament to resilience through changing landscapes. Imagine, looking out over the expansive mighty Nile, glistening under the silver cloak of a rising moon, its ripples gently embracing the banks, murmuring age-old secrets shared through generations. Here, the enduring dance of water and land whispers to remembrance, echoing tales of pharaohs and deities, the enigmatic allure of myths mingling with the steadfast rhythm of the river's song. These waters have borne witness to civilization's myriad expressions: agriculture, robustly rooted, celebrations awash in color, and societies seeking harmony amidst abundance and challenge. As the city lights reflect on the river's surface, a mosaic of radiance illuminates a world where echoes of history blend seamlessly with the pulse of contemporary life. Picture the bustling cities and tranquil villages along the banks, where the river continues to nurture both the child splashing on a summer afternoon and the elder sharing stories by firelight. Here, the eternal Nile performs its ancient role, transcending time with nurturing gracia, constant companion, offering sagely reflection upon humanity's shared journey. Historians still delve into the depths of this powerful river, uncovering relics and scrolls that recount tales etched into the marrow of ages. They speculate on what treasures and mysteries remain hidden beneath its currents, treasures that beckon with the promise of expanding our understanding of a world sculpted by these enduring waters. As the sun dips below the horizon, painting the sky in hues of warm gold and deep indigo, let the gentleness of evening's tranquility envelop you. These closing moments offer solace return to quiet contemplation beneath the celestial dome, where stars cast light upon the tale of a river that sculpted a civilization and cradled the tapestry of dreams that continue to ripple through each moment. Feel the river's timeless invitation as it beckons to embark upon new adventures, carrying with you the echoes of this journey, a mosaic of experience felt and shared. The whispers of the Nile, cradle of Egypt, will remain with you, a reminder that you are part of an intricate narrative woven like a delicate linen thread into the vast, eternal tapestry of life. Now, as the night deepens, submitting to the river's gentle embrace, let your heart find peace in this tapestry of past and present, where history waltzes with the perpetual serenade of the Nile. Drift softly into a dream where the river sings with melodious grace, cradling you within its waters, humming softly with stories yet to be told, awaiting the dawn of new discoveries. The journey is complete, but the story lives on, inscribed upon the river's enduring currents. Sweet dreams.